Yes, guys, welcome back to Kosi's Arsenal podcast. My name is Kosi. This is the Arsenal Transfer Center. We are talking about all Arsenal transfer news running around. There's so many stories, by the way. We've been advised to buy Jack Grealish. That is 100 million. How could you advise Arsenal to buy Jack Grealish? But anyway, it makes sense because the FFP, the European Financial Fair Play has been scrapped, so probably that means we could actually spend more money. I'm going to be talking about Martin Odegaard and the situation around Arsenal and Real Madrid in regard to Fabrizio Romano. So we should be very, very, very attentive when we talk about that because, as you know, he is the number one reliable source of transfer news when it comes to transfers in Europe. We will talk about Philippe Coutinho because there is a story that's looming around. It looks like Philippe Coutinho wants to come back in the next summer. He was very, very, active in the last summer. His name was so active in the last summer in regards to Arsenal. His name could actually come back. I'm going to share my thoughts on that. But I think the biggest story, here is about a name, Emerson Royal. Real Betis right back. He's been linked with Arsenal, and someone told me to do a story about him yesterday. So I hope I can actually try to get all these stories done within just 10 minutes because that is all I want to spend here. So guys, smash the like button. Let us subscribe. We are currently at 19,500 something. So please do subscribe to the channel. It really makes a lot of sense and it helps me a lot. Smash the like button. It also helps me a lot. Let's get the party started. I'll start with Martin Odegaard. I'll start with Martin Odegaard. The story from Fabrizio Romano. Before I forget, he said. Of course, he did quote Martin Odegaard saying, "My future at Arsenal, the deal with Arsenal is at the is until the end of the season. We will see what happens this summer. I've said things before that I still stand for. Stability and development are keywords." And below, Fabrizio Romano said, "Arsenal are so happy with Martin Odegaard impact on the pitch as during trainings. They will try to keep him. Arsenal will talk to Real Madrid at the end of the season. Zinedine Zidane's future will be key to take a final decision about Martin Odegaard." So there have been so many rumors around Odegaard. Should he stay? Is he going to stay? He has decided on his future. Finally, Real Madrid are talking this and this. But I think where we stand right now, and I don't want to speak so much about this still, because you already know my standpoint. I want him to stay at Arsenal. He is the player I want to, I want us to sign fast. But what I'm gonna say about this still is where we stand at the moment is we are interested in signing Martin Odegaard. We will open up, talks with Real Madrid in the summer. That is according to Fabrizio Romano. For now, that is it. The player might want to stay, and there's so many reasons as to why Odegaard might want to stay at Arsenal. Particularly for the reason that he has settled with Arsenal, and like you've said, like you've seen, I could just show you again. He says stability and development, are key. And I think at the age of 22 years of age, he now knows that he made a big mistake by signing for Real Madrid, 7 years ago, actually, when he was 15 years of age. He could have gone to a club like Borussia Dortmund or RB Leipzig, or probably, a club that could actually, develop his talent at the time, maybe Seville, maybe Villarreal. But, going at Real Madrid at that time didn't actually help him a lot. He's been, denied game time and so on. So I think it will depend on how we impress the player, which I think we are doing by giving him playing time and making him feel comfortable at home. He's developing as a player. He's becoming, he's becoming more stable as a player. And of course, the Zinedine Zidane deal is also going to matter. Of course, there is not so much of good blood between Odegaard and Zidane. Zidane believing in more French players like Paul Pogba that he doesn't have. Here now he wants to sign Martial. But anyway, like I said, I don't want to talk much about this deal. It's a deal that could happen in the summer, so let us wait for the summer, and I'll give you details about that. The other thing we have to talk about is the emergence of transfer rumors, especially from Mundo Deportivo in Spain, that Arsenal have begun talks with Real Betis to sign Emerson Royal. Now, Mundo Deportivo are quite reliable when it comes to Spanish news and updates, so you can trust them. I also think, yeah, they're credible. Okay, I don't want to take away anything from them. They're credible. I've looked at Emerson Royal. He's a very good right back. He's Brazilian. Of course, I have problems with Brazilian players. Unless we've seen the Gabriel Paulistas, we have seen the Santos at Arsenal. I just don't feel them defensive wise. No, and for me, I think it's the same matter with Emerson. He's very solid, by the way. I've seen him a little bit, on YouTube, and I've not seen so many Real Betis games, I want to be very honest, but he looks a little bit stable, more than you would expect of a Brazilian a right back. He's very good at going forward, and of course when we talk about a Brazilian full back, that is what you expect, a player who is so good at going forward. But defensive wise, there might be some liabilities there. I want to tell you, but he's only 21 million pounds. That is the price we could pay. And they are also actually Mundo also continue and say Arsenal would love to get a central midfielder from Real Betis as well, so we could actually go for a duo. And the other player is Guado Rodriguez. This story has been done, by Football.London, so you can check it out. I promise to share links in my description. Of course, I really at times I do forget, but I'll be sharing those links in the description, or I'll be sharing the write-up, of the story, so that you guys can read in the description as you follow my voice. I don't know if you love my face. So, okay. I would love to have an upgrade in the right back. It looks, it really seems like Hector Bellerin is going to leave this football club. And all of us want an upgrade, by the way, in the right back position. Emerson, he's good going forward. I've seen him, the accuracy of his crosses. One of the things I've liked about his game, of course, I've just seen glimpses. He only does not focus on crossing the ball, but he also focuses on how he crosses the ball, when he crosses the ball. I think he's a very good player going forward, but my problem is defensive wise. I might have to take a look at him defensive wise before I decide. Of course, so many stories written around him that is the next Tierney as our right back. I don't care. Like I said, I'll look at that story. I'll look at the player more. I'll get some time, analyze his, tracking back going forward, and then I will actually do a video about him on the tactical board. How do you see that? So away from that, we need to talk about Philippe Coutinho, by the way. But before we do that, Jamie Vardy. There are more revelations. Of course, every year there are revelations ever since 2016, when we tried to sign him for 22 million pounds, and we failed. Of course, we were very close. That is the report coming out, and now they are saying that Arsenal were actually willing to make Jamie Vardy the most paid player at the time at Arsenal if he had joined. So and of course Leicester City, what they did was to double the offer. So they doubled the offer so that Arsenal couldn't actually take Jamie Vardy. You know what? I think it's two-way. At the time, Vardy was on fire, and ever since then he's been so consistent. He's been scoring goals for Leicester City, so he would have been a good player for us. Now, Arsene Wenger wanted him, I still remember, but after some time, then we get Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, who's been so consistent for the past 2.5 years at Arsenal. So for me, it's two-way. I have Aubameyang now. I don't cry for. I really don't cry for Jamie Vardy. Aubameyang is off this season, but he's still our top scorer. And I think Vardy, in his being Vardy, is not better than Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. So I don't want to continue with that. But Philippe Coutinho is another player I want to talk about. And in the same line, I will talk about the FFP rule being scrapped, because that I think it goes hand in hand. In the last 1 minute. We've been linked again with Philippe Coutinho, and they're saying if Arsenal fail to secure, and why should we fail? But if Arsenal fail to secure the the signature of Martin Odegaard in the summer from Real Madrid on a permanent deal or on another loan deal, which I think will be quite expensive, because if you're going to take him on a loan deal, you might need to pay around 10 million or 9 million for the full season. I don't know whether Arsenal is comfortable, with paying that. We shall see in the summer. But they're saying if we fail to get him, we shall go for Felipe Coutinho, and it's a deal I do not agree with. You remember in the summer when I said I loved Coutinho, but I am skeptical about the terms of agreement. First and foremost, we wanted him on a loan deal, which was going to be so expensive. I think we had to pay around 19 million in the summer for his loan deal, and I said, yeah, it's a good deal, but why don't you get 25 million and sign, a one talented player, maybe from Brentford? At that time, we were looking at, Saiben Rama, and you could see how he's actually playing at West Ham. He's actually doing a lot of progressive, footballing actions at West Ham, and that's what Arsenal need. So right now, I think Philippe Coutinho is what, 29? Or 28? It should be 29. It should be 29 or 30 now. And of course, if you want to take him, you're gonna take him on a permanent basis. I don't think Barcelona are going to let him go on a loan deal. But the question is, how much are you going to invest in Felipe Coutinho? He's entered the age where any injury, any massive injury, could actually rule out a season for him. So I don't know. I don't agree with Felipe Coutinho, but why I think Coutinho and Odegaard and all these transfers actually make a lot of sense for me is if Stan Kroenke wants to support Arsenal, if he doesn't want to sell to Dangote in the first place, and he feels he wants to support Arsenal, FFP has been scrapped. So that literally what for me this means is clubs can now spend money, leave alone the sensible transfers, or what did they say? They said it. They called it useful. Did they say useful spending? Something like that. What for me this means is they're trying to inject more money in football, in the economy, because of the coronavirus, thing. You remember last summer, and not so many clubs actually spent money, because not so many clubs made a lot of money. If you remember, we talked about the 40 million loss Arsenal incurred, and we talked about the 44 million loss that Borussia Dortmund incurred, and we talked about so many clubs that actually lost money. If you've not seen that video on the channel, I'll talk about it when we go in the summer, and why I expect this summer to be a little bit different from the one we had. But for me, the sense in this story is, if you scrap FFP, then that means owners can raise money from external sources and pump into their clubs. So we could see Erling Haaland to PSG at 200 or 300 million, yet PSG have not actually made that money. And why this affects Arsenal is actually, many people have looked at it in a negative sense. Blah blah blah. Arsenal cannot, spend money. Blah. Arsenal is going to actually become even worse, because now clubs like United and City are going to spend a lot of money, that is not accounted for in their books. Yeah, I understand, but for me, what this means in a positive sense is Stan Kroenke and the Kroenke Sports and Josh Kroenke and the Kroenke Sports and Entertainment Limited now can give us money without actually disguising it. So they don't need to disguise it that we are giving us a loan to pay off the stadium debt. We are giving us a loan to do this. It's as simple as Stan Kroenke helping us with 100 million. Because for me, I think Arsenal only need 100 million this summer. Just that. Of course, there are going to be clubs that spend 100 million on one player. We saw with United last summer, they almost spent 100 million on Jadon Sancho. We need 100 million, 20 million for a right back, around 50 million for a good midfielder, and then the rest, around 30 million, for you could spend it wherever you want on that pitch, and it will make a lot of sense. And then let some players go. I think that's it. So for me, that is how I understand the FFP in regards to Arsenal. In regards to football, I think on one side it's going to revive football because, like I said last summer, we were not actually spending a lot of money because clubs were not making that money, and according to the financial fair play rule, you can't actually spend what you're not earning. So actually, I think it's going to revive football in a way. Maybe probably clubs like Barcelona could do a fundraising and buy some players or something like that. I don't want to go into Barcelona. I'll talk about that on Kosi 90 more. I'm opening up the channel very soon, and it's going to start running the same way you see the content here. It's going to be the same quality. And I appreciate all those people who actually now appreciate the quality of the content, and I promise we shall be doing more videos, more quality. Yeah, that's the way. So no more complaints about the quality of the videos, about the quality of the content. So that is all for now for Arsenal's transfer rumors. Emerson Royal and Odegaard, still up there in the news, and then Filippo Coutinho, Guaido Rodriguez, and Vardy, and then the FFP rule being scrapped. Does that mean Arsenal will actually spend money? Actually, I'm going to do a video about the FFP and Kroenke, how the two could actually link up together. I think that's the last video we shall do today. Now, because for me this means Kroenke can spend 100 million, in that sense. But anyway, let me come back. Smash like on the video if you like the content. If you want to watch Stan Kroenke and the FFP and how the two are linked, click the subscription button, but also click the notification bell, because when that story comes, you'll be the first person to know. I'm out of this place.